Hey, what's up guys, this is MugenLord here, and about time. From Software decided to not be stingy anymore and to allow content creators who had hands-on sessions with Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. And man, there's hours upon hours of information and details, and I will say this, that a lot of this information have pretty much set aside or pretty much put a lot of fans at ease when it comes to its gameplay, the lock-on sequence, and everything when it comes to this title. So before we dive into this video, before we break everything down, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. Now, I will say this, I never thought that I would be covering Armored Core here on this channel. I mean, Armored Core is such a niche franchise. Not too many people know anything about Armored Core, and it seemed like that From Software has been pretty much been playing the long game here. It's like they had this planned out from the very beginning to pretty much hone their skills and pretty much build a name for themselves with the Soul series, garnered a huge fan base, also get Game of the Year with Elden Ring, and then now they whip out Armored Core. It's like they were building up to this from the very beginning. And I never thought that I'd live in a universe to where Armored Core is a spotlight title. We already have some people already saying that could this be a Game of the Year contender, an Armored Core game, a mecha game in general. So this is a great time as a Armored Core fan, and you know, lovers of mecha can finally be able to have a title that represents them and their love for this type of genre of games. So we're going to dive into it. What can we expect? What do we know about the game thus far? And I will say that From Software has been very methodical when it came to the advertisement, since we had so many people upset and is wondering what's going on. The game comes out next month and we still have no details, and it seemed like now that the details are finally coming out. And let's get down to what we know so far. So now there's a person on Twitter that goes by the name Okami Games. You can go check out his Twitter. I'll probably have the link in the description below. He covers a lot of gaming content and give details of and breakdowns of what we can expect in the games. So far when it comes to Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, this is what we have as far as the details from the preview. The game will be 50 to 60 hours long, and that's 50 to 60 hours long of actually fully finding every last nook and cranny, details, upgrades, you know, side content, you know, boss ACs, secret boss ACs, everything. And you will be able to get that for 50 to 60 hours. And I think that's pretty cool, especially for an Armored Core games. The environments are much larger and more vertical. Now, we have definitely seen that when you look at the gameplay footage that GameSpot and IGN had featured. The stages are much more massive, and this is mission based, and this is not an open world game. Each mission have their own specific environments and locations, but now they're so much bigger. And of course, the highlight is the fact is that they are vertical, which means there's going to be a lot of flight sequences you can take advantage of, a lot of maneuverability and everything when it comes to Armored Core. And I think that's pretty cool. So there's going to be a lot of, you know, boost management and everything, and you really want to keep in mind on how you're going to build your mech when it comes to these environments. So I think that's pretty cool. Enemies get more aggressive as their health drops. I think that's also pretty cool. So you also going to need to keep that in mind when they're going against other enemy ACs and how you approach them, and maybe their patterns may also switch up, since they did say they do get harder and more aggressive. So I like to see how that works out. And PC, now check this out, PC has native 120 frames per second support, first ever from a From Software game. Now the thing is, I don't play many From Software games. I only play the original Armored Core, and also I do have Elden Ring and Demon Souls remake, but I haven't really played them much, so I don't really know the history of how they handle PC ports. But the fact is that this is the first time ever for 120 frames per second for a PC port of Armored Core. I know the PC community, gaming community, is going to go nuts and go ballistic with this. I think this is going to be pretty cool, and I'm more so looking more forward to the PC version, because I can only imagine what the mods are going to be like. especially when it comes to customizing your mech, since it's heavily emphasis being focused on the mech. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And then ray tracing can be enabled for the garage. I guess that's cool. And then permanent upgrades can be earned in arena mode. Now, the arena mode is pretty much essentially just like the original Armored Core, especially when you go to the garage and you assemble your mech and everything. You can also test out your mech in the garage as well, but there's also special arena battles to where whenever enemies that you have encountered, you will be able to refight them again. And there's also arena specific enemies that's only exclusive to the arena for you to pretty much battle, to be able to get parts and to, you know, also get a chance to understand how your builds work when it comes to your mech. And then there's also OS upgrades allow you to customize the feel of your mech, and that's what's something that GOTY Vidya, you really need to go check out his channel. I guess you could say he's like a Souls channel. He has over 1 million subscribers, but the way he breaks down Souls games and the way he breaks down Armored Core, like, he really does a good job with it. And then his voice, the way he articulates himself, it really makes you want to listen to him. And his video, which is like over 40 minutes long, this man, he breaks it down. So if you really want to get a full understanding of what to expect from the new Armored Core game, go to his channel. I'll post a link in the description below for you to go show him some support as well. For him to help the community out and bring the Armored Core community to the mainstream and bring it to more people, to expose it to more people, you definitely need to go check him out. How you customize your mech will also make your mech move and feel a whole lot different, and they don't feel the same across the board. So I think that's pretty cool. That means every player will have I guess you could say their own taste on how they want to feel their movement and how they navigate around the stage, and also when they go against other opponents in the arena mode with the multiplayer. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And there's a huge variety of weapons. Armory stations allow you to change loadout mid-mission. Now, this was something that many people were debating about, whether or not this is a good idea to be able to change your loadout from mid-mission, because most Armored Core fans are known for, like, you know, Armored Core is very demanding, is very punishing in everything. So your skills was more so based on how you loaded up your mech, because you didn't know what the mission was going to entail as you go in, but you had to build that mech to be able to sustain and survive throughout the entire mission. If you failed the mission, you had to restart the mission from all over again, but you go back to the garage and reset everything or put another build out there that's best suited for the job. But this one has mid-missions loadouts where you can go to the garage, you can change things up. And the main argument was like, well, what about the difficulty? And I don't think that's challenging. But mid-mission loadouts also means that the game is going to be, as far as missions are concerned, missions are going to be a whole lot longer. These are going to be longer missions, meaning that players can have the time to say, okay, I barely got through this. Maybe I can sit back and rethink everything and then re-equip my mech and go in there, because it doesn't make sense if the mission is going to be longer. If you die, you have to play the entire mission over again. I think that'll be discouraging to a lot of players, and it just doesn't make sense. So I think the good thing for mid-mission changing and loadouts and going to the garage means longer mission and much more difficult missions, to where you need to do some changes and some switching in and out when it comes to your mech. So I'm all for that. Now, as far as the game itself and what they have shown in the previews, the mechs look amazing. The visuals, I'm not disappointed at all. I think this is a really good looking game. Now, I know some people say that From Software games doesn't look that great, but in my personal opinion, I mean, Elden Ring looked it pretty good. The frame rate was smooth as well, but looking at Armored Core, the details and how the mechs maneuver and just seeing them up close and personal, to me it looks really good. So as far as I'm concerned, this is something that I really want to get into and invest in. Now that we know that the game is in fact multiplayer, there was a leak about a week ago, where at a Japanese event that they had the box art and all the details of what to expect from Armored Core, and we noticed that there's actually have 6 players. 6 players will allow to be able to play this game. Now, I think that's pretty awesome. Now, many fans who played the more recent Armored Core games said it was normally 8 players. So 6 players is kind of a downgrade, but it doesn't matter, because also there's room for 3 additional players to be able to spectate. So those who just want to just see an all-out mecha battle and watch players compete and go at it back and forth with their builds, you can definitely check it out and just sit back and relax and just go into different rooms and just spectate how these matches play out. So my assumption is that we're going to be able to do customizable matches with the 6 players, meaning that you can probably do some 1v1s, 3v3s. If we're allowed to do 3v3s, I think that's insane, because now I'm able to co-op with my brothers. They like my brothers Keel Lancer and DX Strike. That's going to be nuts. And then maybe they may have a 6-player all-out free-for-all where you just battling against everyone on your own. I think this is going to be pretty nuts. I can't wait to see more about the arena, and I know Armored Core fans really want something like this. You know, now we able to have spectators, so it'll be much easier to post up matches, share builds and how builds work, and be able to test them out for other viewers to pretty much do research and gather some data so they can go back into their garage and build their own mechs. So I'm just excited to see how this all played out. Now, there was also an interview discussing how the game will play out as terms of, I guess you would say, balance, because now they added brand new features to the mechs, to your ACs in this game, because now you have shoulder parts that allows you to use weapons and everything. So now you can pretty much blast everything all at once, which means that the combat against human players is going to be pretty nutty, to the point that it may get stupid janky as far as the balance is concerned. So in the interview, they did essentially state that their main focus is balance. They know how important the weapons are and the balance are when it comes to the game, especially in competitive play, and also with the new additional weapon slots that you could put onto your mech. So they know that's important, that's essential, and if the game is not balanced, it's definitely going to wreck the community, and I guess you could say wreck the lifespan for this game if people are planning on trying to pick this game up and actually, you know, compete in it. So I'm just looking forward to see, will there be some type of competitive scene for it. I think, you know, this is the perfect time for it. Like I said, I still can't believe that we have a brand new Armored Core game, and that Armored Core is something that people are anticipating. This never happened before. This never happened. We have more people being exposed to this, and that's definitely a good thing. Now, as far as the targeting is concerned, they also said that when playing in a multiplayer setting, that targeting won't be much of a focus as far as the lock on, because my concern was, how does it work in a competitive setting? But they did state that since, you know, there will be multiple ACs and everything, that you can't just focus on one mech and lock on them. So you would constantly keep switching and not have the lock on at all. So it would have less prevalence in terms of combat and gameplay when that's concerned. But looking at the missions look pretty cool, especially the boss fights. The boss fights does have that Dark Souls as far as the massive epicness and its scale when it comes to the bosses in this game. So man, you just don't understand how I'm feeling right now. Like the child is coming out of me, because Armored Core had brought back some amazing memories that I had with the franchise. But that pretty much wrapped this up as far as Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. I definitely want to get thoughts in the comment sections below. Are you looking forward to it? Have you ever played an Armored Core game? If you haven't, will you give this game a try? Is this something that's up your alley? If you are a fan of the Souls series, do you think that you will give this game a try, since it's from Software themselves? So I definitely want to hear your thoughts. If you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you Game Fiends later. Peace out.